Hello, and welcome to the Awakening Heart community of mindful living. Zen-to-go noon meditation. As most of you know, we usually meet at the Dallas Meditation Center. But in light of recent events, we are live streaming the events that we usually hold in person. The nice thing about this opportunity is that it opens up the practice to those who may not be physically located in the DFW area. And so, at the same time as we're all getting used to certain constraints and enforcements, we also have the opportunity to connect our Little Dallas Meditation Center mindfulness practice with anyone who wants to tune in from literally anywhere in the world, right? And I think that's super cool. Instead of streaming from the Dallas Meditation Center, I am streaming from home, which means that there may be various feline visitors, shall we say. I was going to say interruptions. I don't think that's the best word. Because how can you not like Sandy? Ah, but anyway, our little noontime practice begins with an opening affirmation where we set an intention for about a 10 to 15 minute uh, guided meditation. Those of y'all familiar with our usual noontime practice will probably notice that during live streaming, I guide the meditations a little bit more heavily than usual. I've found that it can be a little bit harder to feel connected when there's a screen in between us, and that in the same way that we try to stay tethered to our breath uh, during our own meditation, it helps to kind of stay tethered to the sound of my voice with a little bit more guiding so we can truly feel like this is a community practice no matter where we're located. And then we'll finish up with a short reading from one of our contemporary teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, that I picked for y'all today. It's a surprise. I have to save it for the end of the meditation. And for those of you who may be dropping in from the internet or who may not be incredibly familiar with mindfulness, so I want to make sure that it feels very approachable and feels very inclusive. The good news is there's really not too much that you can do wrong. Mindfulness is the heart of our practice in this community. And we all practice mindfulness in one way or another in our daily lives. Mindfulness is where we are focusing our attention, and we can be focusing our attention on what we're doing in the present moment, or we can be focusing our attention on thoughts of the past, worries about the future. At any point in time, we have the ability to gently coax our attention from uh, our thoughts back to our physical body. It's an especially simple cue to focus our attention on the felt sensation of breathing in and out. So, really, we can direct our attention toward any part of our present moment experience. But today we'll be practicing mindfulness of breath, refocusing the attention from wherever it goes back to the breath sensation. Hi, Catherine. I see y'all checking in the chat box. Before we start our meditation, we usually have a check in with the folks who are in the room. I would like to invite y'all to check in via the chat box, sharing something that you're grateful for, as well as your name if your YouTube handle is something different. My name is Miles, and I am grateful to be able to connect with y'all through the magic of YouTube live stream. And so you're welcome to share something you're grateful for and your name at any point in time. That's the nice thing about the comment box. Catherine says she's grateful for a hot shower, dogs barking next door, and being connected in the online sphere today. Wonderful. So we'll go ahead and get started with our meditation by beginning with our opening affirmation. Sets our intention for the day. If you know it, I invite you to join along at home. If you don't, listen along today, and then you'll know it for tomorrow. May we and all beings be safe and free from injury. May we and all beings transform our suffering. May we and all beings rejoice in all joys. May we and all beings be at peace. And holding that intention in mind, go ahead and allow yourself to settle into a comfortable resting posture. And typically during the day, it's good to be seated upright, whether cross-legged or with your feet flat on the floor, to feel a little more grounded. But if you're feeling particularly tired, in need of a rest, you might lie down, finding a position where you feel like you can stay for the next 15 minutes. Breathing in, breathing out, releasing a little more tension from your physical body with each out breath. Which with each breath cycle, Breathing in, I am aware that I am breathing in. And breathing out, I am aware that I am breathing out. Can we allow the attention to rest on the expansion and contraction of the natural bellows system that makes up the lungs and the rib cage? Breathing in, I follow my in breath from beginning to end. Breathing out, I follow my out breath from beginning to end. And can you notice the point at which each in breath turns around to become an out breath? And in turn, can you notice the point at which each out breath turns around to become the next in breath? And breathing in such an effortless, attentive way. Can we learn to enjoy the act of just sitting and just breathing, knowing that for a few moments during our day, we have nowhere to go, and nothing to do. And breathing in, can we cultivate a sense of gratitude, knowing that our breathing comes easily, and permeating each and every one of our cells with oxygen, knowing that it's not so easy for everyone to breathe in such an effortless way right now. At any point in time, if we find that our mind has wandered into thoughts of the past or worries about the future, or has been pulled away by an external sound, we know that we can simply let that go, refocusing the attention on the felt sensation of ribcage expansion with each in-breath, relaxation and release of tension with each out-breath. Enjoying the privilege of sitting and breathing, and sitting and breathing together. I'm going to allow us to enjoy the last few minutes in silence, where we can all practice gratitude for the privilege of easy breathing, quiet sitting, releasing any thoughts, distractions that arise with each out breath. And with one last cleansing in breath, go ahead and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, opening the scope of awareness until it includes the entire physical body, and then even wider until you come back into the room around you. Coming back to the second half of your day a little bit more grounded, a little bit more centered, so that we can come to the world as it is with calm in our hearts and a sense of reason in our minds. Thank you all so much for joining me for that wonderful meditation. Sometimes the silence seems so nice that, like, I don't want to interrupt it. And that's always a nice place to be for me. I hope y'all kind of had that experience as well. The reading I'd like to share with y'all today is from Thich Nhat Hanh's book called Anger, Wisdom for Cooling the Flames. And it's a library book that I've had the privilege of reading several times now because the libraries are closed. And so, like, I don't have to give it back until the libraries are open, which I think is pretty great. It's a real meaty book. And the passage that I'd like to share with y'all today talks about anger, but can really apply to any number of so-called afflictive emotions. In this passage, Thich Nhat Hanh says, "All plants are nourished by sunshine. All of them are sensitive to it. Any vegetation that is embraced by the sunshine will undergo a transformation. In the morning, the flowers have not yet opened. But when the sun comes out, the sunshine embraces and penetrates the flowers. The sunshine is really made of tiny particles, photons. The photons gradually penetrate the flower one by one. And at that point, the flower cannot resist any longer, and she has to open herself to the sunshine. In the same way, all mental formations and all physiological formations inside us are sensitive to mindfulness. If we cultivate mindfulness, you can use mindfulness to embrace your mind body, and your mind will transform. When mindfulness is there, embracing anger or despair, then they too will be transformed. Anything embraced by the energy of mindfulness must undergo a transformation. Emotions like anger or despair are like a flower. In the beginning, you may not understand their nature or why they have manifested. But if you know how to embrace your emotions with the energy of mindfulness, they will slowly begin to open. You may be sitting, following your breathing, or you may be practicing walking meditation to meet a more active emotion where it is and generate the energy of mindfulness there. After 10 or 20 minutes, your anger or despair will have to open herself to you. And suddenly, you will see the true nature of the thinking that is causing your anger or despair. It is likely to have arisen just because of a wrong perception or the lack of skillfulness in taking care of our difficult emotions. I really like that passage because Thich Nhat Hanh and me as well, I always invite myself, challenge myself, and y'all to go back to the science to find the scientific basis for all these teachings. And whenever I look for it, we have good evidence. And I'm so pleased with that. I like how Thich Nhat Hanh talks about how our mental formations, as well as our physiological states of being, are sensitive to mindfulness. Um, because so much so they are. I think we like to think about the mind and body as separate things, but the truth of the matter is that when we think worrying thoughts to the point where we get lost in them, we tell our body that there is something to be worried about, and we can activate a physiological stress response in our bodies that you can measure um, through things like salivary cortisol levels. And so we don't have to think about, mental formations in incredibly abstract terms. We have science that is giving us better and better ways to measure what these do to our bodies. Um, but on the flip side, when we use mindfulness to transform our anxiety provoking thoughts, to transform the anger that we can stew in because of our rumination, we see physiological changes in the physical body as well. Um, and that still blows my mind. And I'd invite y'all to check out mindfulness on PubMed. Um, in fact, I'll post that in the chat box because that's what I get excited about. But I would love to hear y'all's reflections on either your meditation or on the reading that talked about how mental and physiological formations are sensitive to mindfulness. And when we are diligent with mindfulness for even 10 or 20 minutes, our mental formations like anger, despair, fear, they must open up. to mindfulness to be transformed. I am going to post a PubMed widespread search on mindfulness because I invite y'all to check it out. And I'd love to hear any interesting studies you find. Feel free to post them in the comments. And feel free to post any reflections on either your meditation or the reading in the comments as well, either now on the live stream or afterwards. If you're watching this after the fact, hello to you too. You also get to benefit from mindfulness archive that we are beginning to develop on the Dallas Meditation Center YouTube. And in the spirit of that, oh, wonderful. Cornell says, for me, it was about forming a habit of meditation and mindfulness. Over times, my reactions to stress changed. Thank you for sharing. I think I kind of talked about that yesterday, where mindfulness is getting to the place where we know that meditation is good for us. We know that vegetables are good for us. We know that exercise is good for us. But if they don't seem accessible, then it becomes kind of like, I know that's something that I'm supposed to be doing, but I just don't see how I can fit it into my life. Um, I love the practice here because it is so accessible. We're just sitting, we're just breathing. Now you can do it at home, and we can all do it together. Um, it doesn't even have to be, 30 minutes. And it's so, so good for helping us down regulate our stress responses so things don't feel so stressful anymore. But I think it's the habit that's been really important for me. If I wait to try to practice mindfulness in a crisis situation, one, it's not fun, and two, it's really hard to try to learn how to um, do something like drive when you're first learning how to drive in the getaway car, right? And there's time pressure and stuff. So, yeah. Catherine says, I think mindfulness and meditation is so important right now. It definitely affects my body, which I am focused on its health right now in all forms. This is an awesome opportunity, awesome time to rejuvenate my practice. Exactly. We're all stuck indoors. So we might as well open this portal um, to each other and use it as, I think Nico said yesterday, is this self-isolation, or is this an opportunity to have a retreat and connect with the other people in our household and really focus internally, spending some more time together? And on that note, I really appreciate you all taking the time to cut a little time out of your day to spend it working on your practice and gathering our practice energy together. We'll close with our closing affirmation today. Before we do, I want to remind y'all that the Dallas Meditation Center is entirely supported from donations from the community. And when I say it like that, there can be a little bit of a diffusion of responsibility. Um, there is a community, and yeah, I'm sure somebody else is donating, but if we all think like that, um, then we won't meet the resource marks that we need to keep this community alive. And I think we need this community more so than ever. Um, it's easy to donate. The links are in the description below. You can donate online either for a one-time donation or for setting up a monthly donation so you can set it and forget it. You can also donate by phone by texting the word mindful to 44321, which is also posted in the description. And if you do that and comment below the video that you donated, I will give you a shout out tomorrow, and say a big thank you. Together, this is how we make this happen. Catherine says, I believe every time we meditate, we make a difference in our own lives, our communities, and in our world. Thank you, Catherine. I think Chi said that we should make time for our own practice and do an extra 5 minutes for everyone else who may not have found the practice yet. And I love that sentiment. My hope is that we are both affecting ourselves and everyone we come in contact with in our lives. Oh, I get carried away. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. I'm going to be doing a very similar live stream tomorrow, starting with the open affirmation reading, open affirmation meditation, and ending with a reading tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central. It is already posted on the Dallas Meditation Center YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube, like us on Facebook. There's Instagram as well, even though I don't Instagram. I don't know what you do there. Follow, click, like, something so that you can stay updated, because we're doing our best to keep all the usual Dallas Meditation Center programs open and available to y'all through live stream during this time. With that said, we'll finish with the closing affirmation today, and y'all can carry this practice with you throughout the rest of your days. I believe that Nico might be doing the young adult meditation group tonight from 7 to 9, but I'm not 100% sure on the logistics of that. So please do stay tuned in for social media if you like that group and that is on your calendar. I think that's everything. We'll finish with our closing affirmation. Join it home if you know it. Save it in your brain for tomorrow if you don't. Countless beings we vow to free, ourselves included. Ceaseless afflictions we vow to end. Limitless truth doors we vow to open. The deepest paths of awakening we vow to realize. Amitabha, thank you all so much for joining me. If you want a nice little practice like this tomorrow, I'll see y'all at 7 p.m. Stay tuned as we keep the programming open for y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'll see y'all tomorrow.